Determine the limit by interpreting it as the definition of the derivative. Limit is h goes to 0 of the cosine of pi over 3 plus 2h minus 1/2 all over h. This limit is of the form limit is h goes to 0 of f of a plus h minus f of a all over h, which is the definition of the derivative and is therefore equal to f prime of a, the derivative of f prime, evaluated at a. So instead of working out the derivative directly, we can, as an alternative, find the derivative of f of x, f prime of x, and evaluate it at a, f prime of a. In order to do that, we have to first determine f of x. F of x is determined by comparing f of a plus h to the f of a plus h term over here. Well, if we look right now, we do not have a plus h, we have a plus 2h. And we therefore are going to need to factor a 2 out of there to have that become just an h. In order to factor a 2 out of this entire expression, I'm going to need a 2 in this term, this first term here. So what I'm going to do is rewrite this as limit is h goes to 0 of the cosine of, and instead of calling it pi over 3, I'm going to call it, let's multiply by 2 over 2, 2 pi over 6. Now 2 pi over 6 is the same thing as pi over 3. It will reduce back to pi over 3. But it has a 2 in the numerator that we'll be able to factor out. And so our next step is to factor that 2 out. Now all this is being done just so we can have the form of a plus h. We don't want a 2h. So if I factor the 2 out, I will have a pi over 6 and an h. And then this entire thing is over h. So there's the form I'm going to want. Now we can compare f of a plus h to this, which has an a plus h in it. To find f of x, we take out the a plus h and we replace it with an x. The a plus h is the pi over 6 plus h. We take it out here and replace that with an x. There's our function, and it will be the cosine of 2x. We don't include this minus 1/2. That's f of a. So we will have the cosine of 2x to be our f of x here. The other thing we need to determine is a, and a is whatever is added to h in the a plus h form. So if we go down here and look, there's our a. Our a is a pi over 6. So what we can do here is take the derivative of f of x, f prime of x. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. Leave the inside alone, but then multiply by the derivative of the inside to complete the chain rule. Make sure you do that there. That 2 moves to the front, and we have negative 2 sine of 2x. We want f prime evaluated at a. Our a is a pi over 6, so f prime of pi over 6, which will be negative 2 sine of 2 pi over 6. Negative 2 times the sine of 2 pi over 6, which is pi over 3, when you reduce, reducible by 2. And the sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2. So we have, multiplying the numerators, negative 2 root 3 over 2. And those 2's can cancel. And so overall we have negative root 3. And our limit up here is equal to negative square root of 3.